Tori Boggs here, and today I'm going to be teaching the 180 and the 360. These are both basic level jump rope direction changing skills, and the 180 progresses you into that 360. We also have the full turn and the full twist, which are also really similar. So whether you choose to start here at the 180, 360 or go into those full turn, full twist, doesn't really matter because you're going to have a lot of crossover between both of those tutorials. Either way, let's jump right into this one. 180s and 360s. Here we go. Alright, so getting into the tutorial here, we're going to first start with just breaking down the 180. So there's the 180 going from forwards to backwards jumping, and then there's the 180 going from backwards jumping to forwards jumping. And of course, once you get each of those, put them together and you have that 360. So it's really a natural progression from one to the other. So to start out for that 180, we're going to start jumping in the forwards direction. So this way. And when the rope comes in front of you, that's when you're gonna make that 180 turn to now be facing the back. So I'm gonna show you this skill from this direction so that you guys can see my fronts and backs. So I jump forward, the rope comes in front of me, I'm gonna turn now 180 degrees, and from this point, my rope that's down is gonna now swing up to go backwards. And that's that's the most important part of this skill actually, is after that forwards jump, the rope comes down naturally, it continues downward, and on that turn is when we're now gonna be switching to that backwards direction. So the rope flow on 360s is very important. It's the most important part of the 180s and the 360s. So really work to get that down. So the rope comes in front of you as you're turning, keep those arms going around. Now another thing that's gonna start to happen is you'll probably first begin by doing this with your feet together, turning maybe some little steps, and then trying to go with your feet together again. But what you're gonna wanna do is almost do a forward straddle on that beginning jump. So let's say I'm turning to my left. I'm gonna do a forward straddle with my right in front so I can naturally turn to the left. And then vice versa. So if I'm wanting to turn to the right on my 180, I'm gonna do a forward straddle with my left leg in front so that I can make that turn. As you can see, my legs are split and it's one movement to switch directions versus having my feet together and now this being kind of an awkward turning movement. So we have those split feet on the first jump, the rope comes in front, and we make that natural turn to the other direction and jump it backwards. And one more tip on this part of the 180 is I really think about when my arms come down to be scooping something upward, because we're gonna do really the opposite when we come the other direction, right? So my arms come down in front of me, I scoop, and now I'm in the backwards direction. So really work to get this both ways as fluidly as possible. So jump, turn, and backwards jump. Forwards jump, turn, and backwards jump. All right, so that's the first half of the 180 from forward to backwards. Now we're working on the backwards to forwards part of that 180. So I'm gonna go ahead and start facing this direction and I'm in that backwards movement. After the rope comes under my feet, we're now moving it, the momentum is going upward. So you're gonna take advantage of that momentum and that's when you're gonna make your turn back to the front. Okay, so the rope will now be upward. So when we were going from forwards to backwards, the rope was under, it was low, and now going from backwards to forwards, the rope will be high. So we scoop it here and we arc it here. So it kind of makes this circle of movement, actually. So we're facing backwards, we jump it backwards, the rope comes up, and another really important part of this skill is making sure that the rope stays on the front plane of our body the whole time. So a really common habit here would be to jump it backwards, and when you turn, you let the rope fall behind you. This is actually a more advanced skill. You'll come to it later. So don't even worry about that right now. Think more about keeping the control of the rope in front of you. So how that happens is you don't want to lift your arms kind of back over your head. You actually want to have your arms around this angle when you do that swing. So you have the backwards jump, the rope is up, and now you see it naturally comes down, and that's when you're going to already want to be that 180 to now jump it forwards. So we go from backwards, rope comes up, comes back down, and now we're forwards. And the same rules on our legs apply here. So as we do that backwards jump, we do that straddle. My left foot is in front because I want to turn right. So backwards jump, turn, and now I'm ready to jump that rope again. So take these movements really, really slowly, making sure that you get really smoothly the forwards to backwards, the backwards to forwards. And then once you're ready to combine them, that's when you're moving into that 360. And really there's no change other than you just take one jump in the back. So let's say we're going from forwards to backwards to forwards again. This is actually a 180 and 180 because we're just going back the same direction. In jump rope terms, we actually call this a mad dog. But if you were to make a full circle, so forwards to backwards to forwards, or the other direction, to backwards to forwards, this is now a 360 because you're making a complete turn. So whether you choose to work on the mad dogs or the 360s, make sure you try both and really work on that footwork and getting those direction changes down. Thank you guys so much for learning the 180 and 360 with me today. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, drop a comment on these skills and any other ones that you want to see here in the future. And until next time, happy jumping. Presented by Brooks Running.